Remember what it was like to be a kid? To explore and play. To roam free all day. In Jamestown, North Carolina, we get out of the grind and escape into the moment. People feel good here. Let loose here. Eat well here. Feel swell here. We go for a ride or an afternoon stroll. We cheer each other on. And go for the goal. Here, a treasured history meets the energy of a town on the rise. In a place with true heart and soul, and where we have our own special beat. Jamestown, North Carolina, where history and possibility meet.
All right, we'll call the planning board meeting to order. Katie, if you would please take roll call.
Yes, Denise Johnson.
Here.
Hope Ing.
Present.
Darlene Fetty is absent. Eddie Oakley.
Here.
John Capes.
Here.
Robert Garland.
Here.
Robert Kuhn.
Here.
Donald Dell.
Here.
Peggy Levi.
Here.
Sherry Richmond.
Here.
Councilmember Burgess is present. A quorum is present.
Thank you, Katie. I would like to call for a motion to approve the minutes from the January 13th meeting.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes from January 13th as presented.
And anyone second the motion?
I'll second it.
All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. All right, thank you. We do have one amendment to the regular meeting schedule. I believe it was the May meeting was originally listed as a Tuesday date, and it should have been a Monday date. So if I could have a motion to approve the amended regular meeting schedule?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. All right, thank you. All right, Jose, would you like to come forward and present?
Good evening, board members. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Awesome, great. Great to see everybody here for the first rezoning of the year. So just wanted to present the first case, 2501. The following case involves a rezoning for the property located at 5125 R1 Atwater Drive, parcel 155994, west of Pine Chuck Drive. It is an 18.02 acre parcel, and the proposed zoning request is agricultural AG to conditional zoning single-family residential. On the screen, you see oblique imagery of the property, as you see it as a vacant wooded parcel. Bordered by the property in terms of zoning, the north of the property is also zoned agricultural AG. South of the property is single-family residential SFR. East of the property is also single-family residential SFR. And west of the property is conditional zoning planned unit development CDPUD. The open space and tree conservation requirements are as follows. The required open space is 1.802 acres. Required tree conservation area is 1.08 acres. This development will connect Pine Tuck Drive. The applicant again requests zoning from agricultural to conditional zoning single-family residential. Here's a description of the single-family residential district, which is also included in your packet. The single-family residential district, SFR, provides for the completion of existing residential neighborhoods and the development of new residential neighborhoods in a pattern that encourages the wise use of land. Allowed building lot types in the single-family residential are detached house and civic building. Permitted uses are restricted to single-family homes and their accessory uses, a limited number of related uses that serve residential neighborhoods, and civic uses. Neighborhoods in this district are the dominant land use in Jamestown and are a major element of defining character in the community. Standards for the single-family residential district ensure that new development maintains the character of the community. The single-family residential district permits the completion and conformity of conventional residential subdivisions already existing or approved in sketch plan form by the town of Jamestown prior to the effective date of these regulations. For new subdivision, the town encourages for the clustering development and protection of open space through the use of cluster development overlay district. The following conditions are requested by the applicant. Number one, maximum number of single-family units shall be limited to 73. The use shall be limited to single-family residential. Proposed rear setback shall be 15 feet. Minimum lot size shall be 4,000 square feet. Impervious surface coverage shall conform to Randaman watershed requirements and shall not be subject to any building coverage limitations per lot. All interior streets shall be provided in conformance to Town of James standards with a minimum centerline radius of 50 feet, allowed and offset bulbs, and a minimum of centerline radius of 200 feet entering site on Pine Tuck Drive. And also parking off the public street will be allowed in a U.S. Postal Cluster Box Unit, CBU, if required. The future land use as envisioned in Envision Jamestown is suburban residential. The suburban residential land use classification is the most prevalent of the future land use classifications applied in the future land use map, encompassing the majority of the planned residential neighborhoods in the community outside of town's traditional core area. Although primarily developed in single-family residential subdivisions, this land use classification is also intended to accommodate lower intensity attached residential development in the same context, along with low intensity civic uses such as churches. Where undeveloped land included in this classification, it is intended to be developed in a manner similar to adjacent suburban residential development. Here are the guiding principles in the Envision Jamestown that this development supports. Guiding principle number one, Jamestown will actively facilitate high-quality growth that is compatible with the town's traditional development pattern and innovative in how it meets the needs of our diverse, dynamic community, and ensuring that infill development is compatible in its surroundings from both use and aesthetic perspective. Guiding principle number two, as the strength of our community is directly tied to the long-term success of our neighborhoods, we will work diligently to promote and maintain the quality of life and aesthetic standards that our residents expect in Jamestown, including protect established neighborhoods from encroachment by adjacent incompatible land uses through the appropriate application of zoning regulations, and ensuring that Jamestown residents have access to housing that is appropriate for all ages of life, family situations, including housing to allow older residents to age in place. Guiding principle number 10, Jamestown is welcoming and inclusive community that values the benefits of diversity in all aspects of the town and its residents. Promote the development and retention of a wide range of housing types that meet the needs and current future needs of all ages, abilities, family compositions, and socioeconomic backgrounds. The decision before the board tonight is this ZC, single-family residential zoning district, an appropriate zoning district to apply in this situation? Is the request consistent with the comprehensive plan? The technical review committee have reviewed the request and feel that is consistent with the comprehensive plan. And that is the end of my presentation. I will call over the applicant to present his part of his
All right.
presentation.
Thank you, Jose.
Thank you, Jose.
Good evening. My name's Jeff Gurnier. I'm a market partner with True Homes here in the Triad. As Jose pointed out, the site is in close proximity and surrounded by residential homes in Adams Farm. We're proposing to develop 73 lots. The density that we're proposing is about 4.1 homes per acre, which is not the highest density that you'll see in this part of Adams Farm. Williamsboro Commons is at 4.6 homes per acre. I know there's always concern about buffering between neighborhoods. Our lots that back up to the white line are about 120 to 125 feet deep. There will be some grading there that lowers that, which will make it difficult to maintain a lot of tree buffer on our property. But if you look at the properties that back up to our site, there's plenty of tree cover on them already. And we're going to do everything we can to maintain a strip of existing trees along there if we can. I just want to show you a few images of the types of homes that we're going to be offering, a mix of 1- and 2-car homes. A variety of siding materials are included. We'll have some brick and stone accents, some not hardy board, but board and batten and shake features on the homes. This is a streetscape of a recently completed neighborhood close by Jamestown. It's in High Point off Deep River Road. It's called Bowling Branch Estates. And you just see what the end product looks like. One of the things we do that separates us a little bit is we sod the entire yard once we're done building. We don't seed and straw it, so we like to give a nice finished look to all the homes that we build. Another thing that separates us in the price points that we operate, we target first-time and first-time move-up buyers. In today's environment, that's $400,000 and below. Most builders, most of the large production builders build a lot of spec homes, and people get to buy what they see. In our case, we like to do a lot of pre-sales. We have a 4,000 square foot design center that allows our buyers to customize their home, pick all the fit and finish that goes into those homes. This is the neighborhood I mentioned, Bowling Branch Estates at Quail Run Farm. It's just off Deep River Road if anybody wanted to see a finished neighborhood that we've recently completed nearby. In my 35-plus year career building homes, I've been associated with a number of different builders, well, actually 2 prior to True Homes. One was Parker Lancaster. We built a significant percentage of the homes in Adams Farm. We then built Jamestown Oaks on Oakdale Road. We built Riverwalk Townhomes, and then the crossing at River Rock. The Meadows at Jamestown up near the Piedmont Environmental Center. And probably the last of the previous companies was Bentley Park on Guilford College Road. We held a neighborhood meeting. Jose presented us a list of invitees to reach out to. We mailed out over 100 invitations. We had one neighbor reach out to show up at the meeting and ask some questions. That was Mr. Jeffrey Williams. He was the lone visitor at 2328 Adams Farm Parkway. His property backs up to the property that we're proposing to develop. He had some questions, how many homes was included. I misspoke when I told him I said 68, so I sent him a note the next morning to correct it to 73. The price point, we're going to be, if those lots were on the ground today and we were building today, those homes would be between $310,000 and $375,000. And at a price per square foot, they would come in at $150 to $190 a square foot. And then he asked about the style of homes, and I ran him through the pictures that I just showed you. Okay, how do I get this started? Well,
Don't worry, you're not the first.
and anyway, this is a simulation of the traffic in the different time periods of the day. It's not working. It's not working. Anyway, basically, it shows the top bar shows what that traffic looks like during the rush hour from 7 to 9 in the morning and 4 to 6 in the evening. The middle bar shows what that traffic will actually look like during the middle of the day, and the bottom shows the frequency of cars over the nighttime. I'm going to send you all a link to it. It's a YouTube video, so you can check it out on your own. But it really demonstrates that the traffic that this neighborhood will generate is not really that significant. Basically, the number is 10 traffic units per household per day, and it's spread throughout the day. And it's really not going to be that much traffic coming out of the neighborhood. A little bit about True Homes. True Homes was formed in 2007, right at the start of the Great Recession. We built the company by working with developers and bankers to help them get out of the financial crisis that we were all mired in at that point in time. In 2019, we were awarded the National Housing Quality Gold Award. We're the first company in the history of that award to receive the Gold Award in the first submittal. The following year, Professional Builder magazine named us Builder of the Year. We're a privately held company. We're not a public company. We operate as a local member of the community in each of the markets that we build in. We build in Charlotte, we build here in the Triad, we build in Raleigh, we build in Charleston, and we build in Wilmington. All of the markets that we operate in are within a 3-hour drive of our corporate headquarters so that our owners and executives can participate in the markets whenever they need to, and quite frankly, they're here at least once a quarter to check up on us. Also in Charlotte, we've been, for the last 9 years running, one of the best places to work in the Charlotte market. All of our clients receive a survey after they close on the homes. They're surveyed by a national home building firm called Woodland O'Brien Scott, and we consistently achieve industry-leading client satisfaction results. 95% willingness to refer quarter after quarter after quarter. One of the other things that's different about True Homes, a percentage of our profits every year go into the True Foundation. This allows us to give back to the communities that we operate in. We give back in a number of ways. Every 500 homes that we deliver to clients in a market allows us to donate a home to a worthy charity. We're finishing up a home right now for City Lights Ministry over in Winston-Salem. That home is a transition home for young women, young pregnant women, to help them get their feet on the ground. We're also working with City Lights Ministry. They've got an 8-acre parcel. This home is on a piece of that, but we've helped them develop a master plan that every year we're going to help them implement that master plan, add new facilities to their property. Another home that we built a couple of years ago was for Homeland Ministries. It was a home for homeless veterans. We delivered a Community Link home in Winston-Salem, and this is, Community Link basically helps veterans get into home ownership. So we gave them a home, and that they basically provide a mortgage to that veteran, and then they can use the funds to build another home. The first home we did was a battered women's shelter for Next Step Ministries in Kernersville. In addition to that, every year, the foundation provides each market team Community Compassion Initiative funds. We get about $40,000 or $50,000 a year to work with different charities in the communities we operate in to help them achieve their mission. In addition, our owners have a great passion for affordable housing. In Winston-Salem, we worked with the city of Winston and acquired 31 lots, city-owned lots, at a community called Ridgewood Place. We've delivered 31 homes to clients that are in the 80% or below area median income, which means it's really hard for them to afford a mortgage. We deeply discount the houses to them. We provide through our lenders down payment assistance programs to help them get into those homes. In fact, some of our clients there got up to $80,000 in down payment assistance to be able to own a home in that community. In Greensboro, over near NCA&T, we're building homes. I think we've got about a dozen of those that we've built for our local community heroes, those being firefighters, teachers, nurses, social workers, policemen. Again, it's deeply discounted to help those people own a home in the communities that they work. Again, we have down payment assistance programs. And back to the Ridgewood Place, those homes carry a deed restriction for 15 years that require the buyers, our buyers, to live in that home for 15 years or sell it to another client, another family that's in that 80% AMI demographic as well. So that home has to remain affordable for 15 years. But what that allows those families to do, just think about it. They're buying a deeply discounted home. They're getting $80,000 in down payment assistance. They're in the home for 15 years. That's generational wealth that we're helping them create. And we're serious about it. What else we do is we're deeply embedded with NCA&T's construction management program. Each fall, we work with students in that program to teach them about residential project management opportunities. From that program, each summer we have a half a dozen interns working with us in our market or other market teams. And I think right now, company-wide, we've probably got about 8 to 10 NCA&T grads working for us that have come out of that construction management program. That's the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I do have a couple, if I may.
Okay?
You'd mentioned a design center. Now, will there be, as I'm understanding, you said 79 units? Is that correct, 76 units total?
It's 73.
Sorry, I can't count. I apologize. So the design center specifically, are you going to have one there on site?
No, we have a facility in Kernersville. It's 4,000 square feet, and it shows all the different options that people can select in their homes.
So there won't be any kind of model home or anything like that?
Well, we'll operate out of a sales center here, but we prefer to have that a decorated home as opposed to a selection center. And then we've got trained design staff that work with all of our clients in the pre-sale market.
I got you. And also, you mentioned Jeffrey Williams was the person that attended the meeting. Now, correct me, they are the president of the homeowners association in that area, is that correct?
I don't know, he didn't disclose that to me, but he may well be.
I was under that impression. I might be mistaken.
I kind of got the feeling that he was a member of the HOA board, but
Got it.
we never really
Okay.
discussed
It's
it.
just good that they've got representation like that. I was curious about that piece of it, want to confirm it. So, that's all I've got at the moment.
Yes?
I'd like to know how many feet from the lot line on either side of the individual homes will be required?
It's 5-yard setbacks, so there'll be 10 feet between each building. And not all of our homes are going to be the full 30 feet wide. There'll be some a little bit narrower, so there'll be more spacing than that.
Okay, these lots look extremely small. Are the majority of the homes that you're building there going to be single-car garages?
It'll be a mix between single and two-car garages. It really depends on what our clients choose. You know, some will opt for more garage and less living space. So it's really up to our clients to determine that.
Is there room on every one of these lots for a two-car garage?
Depending on the plan they chose, yes.
Going off of that, what's the average square foot for each design plan that you have? And what are the bedroom options that you have for this? Are they strictly 2, 3 bedrooms? Do they go up to 4 or 5?
There'll be 3-bedroom bonus room and 4-bedroom bonus room plans available. I might not have caught the first part of your question.
The square footage.
Square footage, they're going to run, we'll have some smaller homes in the 1,600 square foot range, but they'll go up to 2,300 or 2,400 square feet.
Thank you.
Question for you. How will this project impact surrounding values of homes?
I'm not an appraiser, but these houses will sell for more. If they were on the market today, they would sell for more than what the current houses are appraising for today, the tax value of the houses in there.
So how does it really impact the surrounding area's home value?
I think a rising tide lifts all ships, basically. These new homes will offer newer price homes as comp values as those resale homes hit the market.
I do have an additional question about your building materials that you're going to be using. I think it's worth noting that some builders here as of late have been using some cheaper materials. Do you know where you source your materials to build these homes?
I am not in our supply chain world, but we have, we build quality homes. I just encourage you to come look at some of the homes that we built. We stand behind our product. We've got an outstanding client service team that deals with warranty issues, and we have very little warranty that we have to worry about. We have a quality control process that we put every house through before we deliver it to a client.
You mentioned that the siding was going to be board and batten and that type of fit. Is it cementitious fiberboard type?
No, it's vinyl. It's a vinyl application. It's a heavier duty vinyl that holds up very well.
So for the homes, for the one garage and two-car garage, will you control that? Like so in some complexes, you can't build the exact same house right next to each other.
We monitor that and make sure that there's a variety of elevations. I think, and you saw in the streetscape, that it wasn't all the same look. We mix up the materials, and our design studio kind of keeps track of what's going on each lot. So when the client's there, they're going to encourage them, you need to pick a different color or different materials for that.
And if you said the surrounding homes, was it that they sell for $310 or $375?
That's our pricing.
Oh, your
That's the
pricing.
pricing that if we were in the market today, based on the cost to develop and the cost to build and where the market is today, that's where we'd be priced. And that is, again, staying in that first time move-up buyer clientele.
But the homes are going to sell for $400?
If the market will take it there. If the market will take it there, yeah, and rates, there's so many different variables that impact that.
Will the houses have a slab or a crawl space?
They'll be on slabs.
Okay.
And how far setback will the houses be from, is there, number one, a sidewalk? And number two, will the setback be enough to park more than one car in the driveway?
The setback from the sidewalk, I believe, is 20 feet, and if it's a two-car garage, 2 cars will fit in the driveway and not encroach the sidewalk. If it's a one-car garage, there'll be room for just one.
Okay, and there is a sidewalk.
Yes, on both sides of the street.
Do you know?
You've had a question.
Yes. I enjoyed seeing about your charities and things like that, but my focus is really just for Jamestown. And it seems as though these lots are awfully small compared to surrounding lots, so I don't think it really blends or doesn't match one to the other. When you're looking at 3 small lots and you have larger lots that are already there, it doesn't seem to match to me.
Well, if you look.
don't have a cost for these houses either. I can't vote on guesses of how much your houses will sell for. If the other houses around the area are a lot more expensive and larger lots, these small lots don't really match. It doesn't really blend with it, and that's what we're supposed to do.
I don't believe that the houses in that part of Adams Farm are tax valued much different. I mean, I don't know that they're in the 400s in that section of Adams Farm. I believe that our houses, if they were at the market today, would be priced higher than the existing inventory in that neighborhood.
Well, somewhere I saw the plat, I don't see it right now, I probably should have marked it with something, where they have the lots that exist, and then the lots for this proposal rezoning, they're a lot smaller. They're about not quite half the size of the ones that they go adjacent to. Yeah, I can see right here, you've got almost 2.5 compared to the lot that's already there.
And I can speak to that a little bit.
That doesn't match.
Yeah, when they looked at the entirety of Fox Hollow, some lots on the other side of Fox Hollow are a little bit closer to the lots that they're proposing.
But not next to it.
Next to it, yes,
That's
but
what I'm pointing
taking the
out.
full picture of Fox Hollow, it's a little bit more comparable.
One's next to it.
Absolutely.
It's supposed to match up what is next to it.
That's what they're.
Somewhere else.
Right, exactly. That's what they're proposing. But in its entirety, the lots range from, I believe, 4,000 to 10,000 square feet, so.
I mean, one of the significant considerations of the lot size, actually two of them, the cost to develop is extremely high, much higher than when those neighborhoods were built. And the other significant factor is that, development requirements today require stormwater management structures, the ponds for both quality and quantity. There's 2 ponds on this site that have to be built. Those ponds need to be maintained by the HOA. That is not an inexpensive proposition. So we need to spread those costs over more buyers to make it more affordable for everybody. That's one of the reasons there. And again, a bigger lot costs a lot more, and the market demand just isn't there for that price point.
Well, the other concern I would have, those small lots, and you can only put 1 car in the driveway, and we don't have extra parking, and we don't have any green space that I can see.
There's 31% of the site is open space.
Is it open space for people to be on, or is it like a watershed space?
It's going to be a mix of both.
That's what I'm asking you. What green space could children be on, or elderly sit on a bench on?
We're not proposing any active amenity or passive amenity in the area. Again, there's a cost associated with that would be a burden on the HOA, the dues.
Okay,
to
well,
maintain
then
that.
I have a problem with that you don't have open space, and I will go through the comprehensive plan for other numbers. We don't have any green space, we don't have an extra parking area, so that if you have a birthday party or an anniversary or something like that, where are we going to park? We're going to be parking in front of other people's houses. And I think it's important to have affordable housing, but affordable housing should also have some quality of life to it. And a green space or an open space would be maybe one of these lots, and some parking so people can walk around or do some things other than their tiny little space. So that's one of the concerns. And then I don't think it's that consistent with the envisioned Jamestown comprehensive plan in several areas. I don't see that it's high-quality growth, and I don't see that it's compatible with its surroundings for the size of the lots. Even a little larger would be welcome. A green space would be welcome. A parking area for people to use inside there would be welcome. And I don't know if y'all are ready for me to do this, but when I look through the quality of life, high quality of life, that's what I mentioned earlier, for affordable housing. I think they should both go together. For some small amenities that you could make. Principle number 6, access to natural open spaces. That's in our comprehensive plan that we adopted in 2021. Then we have, and that says, shall have access to a wide variety of public parks, natural open spaces, and other recreational opportunities that meet the diverse needs, abilities, and desires of our residents. And I think that these future residents should have some of that too. And then you go on to another principle, I think I had 4 or 5 here, but another one is principle number 11, and that is protect and preserve mature trees and tree stands, because you said you weren't sure that you could make that border with any trees, that you're counting on the other people to keep their trees as a border, unless I misunderstood you. Protect and preserve mature trees and tree stands from removal in conjunction with land development activity, and that's our guiding principle number 11.
Forgive me, Sherry, 1 second.
Yeah.
Point of order, Chair. Wouldn't part of this be more of the discussion after we have the hearing?
Okay.
More so than now? I think we should have the hearing, and then at that point, we can have our discussion. No offense, I don't mean to intrude. But I think realistically, we can call him back up if we have additional questions. But to be fair to the petitioner as well as their time, we should have go ahead and have the hearing now.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Do any of the homes have a living facility, bedroom and bathroom on the, full bathroom on the first floor?
We have plans that offer an optional bedroom, taking a study with a bath, and we have plans that provide that opportunity.
A full bath,
Yes,
three-piece?
yes.
Right.
And we offer our clients a lot of design flexibility as well to accommodate specific needs they may have. Yes, sir.
Are these spec houses or are they purchased prior to building?
We prefer to sell pre-sale client homes. Now, we will maintain some, what we call showcase homes, just to help draw in the brokerage community with their clients. But the majority of homes we build are pre-sold to clients.
They're custom?
Yes. They're somewhat custom. We have a number of structural options that people can choose to customize it, and then they can do all the upgrading and fit and finish choices that they like to make.
Okay. All right. Katie, do we have anyone for the open?
Well, at this time, we need to open the hearing.
Okay.
You'll go ahead and open the hearing.
Okay. We'll go.
Is that it for me?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
They might
Thank
call
you,
you.
sir.
Thank you.
All right, we'll open the public hearing to anyone that would like to speak about the rezoning request. We ask as you come forward that you would state your name and address, and remember that we have a 3-minute time limit for each person who speaks. And just a quick reminder, too, that this is our time to listen to you, but as a board at this point, we can't answer any questions. So, Katie, if you will, if you call forward, or...
Anyone who'd like to speak, just please come forward. Come to the podium.
Great presentation. My name's Gary Jackson, Fox Hollow, and it's really not about the rezoning, but the slides are kind of fuzzy. Is there a way to get a link or a copy of the presentation? That's my question. This presentation with the, it's very fuzzy. Is anybody understanding that? These slides are very fuzzy.
Yes, I think the applicant, we can work and get you the presentation. Yeah,
That's my question.
yep, absolutely. Yep, thank you.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey Williams. I am the treasurer of HOA at Fox Hollow, so that way it gives you an idea what I do. I actually have sold real estate in the past. I think True Homes builds a very good product.
If you would, please state your address also.
Address is 2328 Adams Farm Parkway.
Thank you.
My property backs up. Matter of fact, I'll show you on the map. It is this parcel right here. That's my lot. Like I said, the quality of their product, I think, is pretty good for what they build. I think they are a pretty good company as for what I know about them. And that being said, that's fantastic. But it doesn't address what bothers me is, again, we're talking about 73 homes coming out onto Pine Tuck, which is a fairly narrow road, coming onto Adams Farm Parkway. We're talking about 73 homes and being middle-class homes, they'll probably have at least 2 cars. That's 146 cars coming out Pine Tuck onto Adams Farm Parkway. It's 36 feet wide in Adams Farm Parkway in our area, but as you go up the hill and you get to the Greensboro city limits, it gets down to 29 feet. Therefore, in the afternoon, we have a serious traffic problem. People are parking on both sides of the road on the Greensboro city side, and sometimes you can only get 1 car through. If you have an ambulance that comes in, can't pull in because there's cars on thing, we're blocked. My wife has several times had to come in, just called me back up. She says, I can't get home, turns around, goes back up to Harris Teeter, hangs out. That being said, we also have Mackey Road, which needs to be upgraded to 4 lanes at the train track. Right now, if the train comes in, we're backing up past Adams Farm Parkway. As soon as the Johnson Farm is developed, we're going to have even worse traffic. Same thing with the Gate City Boulevard side. It backs up all the way onto Gate City Boulevard. Until that roadway is widened, we really probably don't need additional traffic. and I don't know what the time frame is that. I've heard different plans, but that does seem to constantly be delayed. So that would be a concern of mine. Also, our lots in our neighborhood, I think the smallest lot we have is roughly about 9,000 square feet. Mine is about 14,000 square feet. Again, that is a big deal of difference between that and 4,000 square feet. With all the homes that are owned backing up to their property, I think mine is actually one of the smaller lots. There's at least about 13,000 square feet and larger bordering up against their neighborhood. It would be nice to see lots that are comparable, and they could shrink as they go further into the neighborhood, very similar to the way our neighborhood does get smaller lots as you get closer to the train track. The way our neighborhood is designed, we have our side, we have nice two-story homes where we can park 4 cars in the drive, and we have real 2-car garages, not these ones that are just single door that you can park 2 little small cars in the garage. Is that mine?
No, it's the time.
In 3 minutes? Okay. Thank you very much. I'll have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Jeff. Sure.
My husband was Gary, the first guy who came up. My name is Dale Jacks, 5604 West Lock Court, Fox Hollow. We have, if you go down West Lock Court, we're the middle house of 3 of the larger properties. We have one of the, there's only 3 larger properties, and we're one of them. It's on West Lock. All the others, we were told are smaller. But anybody who comes up with dimensions, that's fine. I just wanted to let you know that. I have a question about the Pine Tuck area. I think Jeff said some good things, but I'm not an engineer. I work for an engineering department, but I'm not an engineer. So what I'm going to talk about is the Pine Tuck. I agree with the turning and everything else like this. So you're going to open that road to get into this new property? Yes? Where are you? Yes. Okay. So what happens, now I've got that answer. But we have, is it a gas line, sir? Is it a gas line that it's going to cross over? We have that open property that's behind the Adams Farm people. I'll leave off Pine Tuck for a second. But isn't that a service area for gas or food or?
Address the board, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have to know that answer only because this is my question. So once you grow over, go back to what we were discussing last time when we were discussing the other property. Guilford, we were trying to get a Guilford College entrance from Fox Hollow because we have only a 1 exit, 1 in out. So if we had a Helena, you know, I live towards the back and the front people will get out first. So that's a joke on my part. But here's my question. There's that open property there, and what we were discussing is getting a tree, keeping the trees there. So I'm directing it kind of to this young lady, Sherry, who said that the trees are going to be cut down and stuff like that. And that's what I wanted to know is, going back to the last property that was spoken about, is we were going to be able to go through Guilford College, but get Guilford College to the end of our Adams Parkway. But we had to go over that property, which I can't talk to you, but it's that area. So aren't the trees staying there? You cutting down all the trees? Will they be cutting down all the trees? That's my question. I just want to know. It's such nice. We passed through the new development going through now. It's beautiful, but I thought those trees have to be maintained because of this gas line or whatever the energy production is. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward? No? Okay. Then we will open it up to the planning board for discussion.
Excuse me, is it too late to speak? I'm sorry, I missed the last call there.
No, come on.
This one.
Is that okay?
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. I've never done this before, so My name's Brad Wright. I'm at 2400 Adams Farm Parkway. I'm a couple houses down past Jeff. Again, I'd like to express all the concerns Jeff had and my other neighbor there, the lady was here before me. There's a lot of traffic on that road right now. There's only one way in and out of, I'm in Fox Hollow, and then we have Elk Run above us that goes out into Mackey Road. There is only one way in and out of that neighborhood right now with over 300 and some houses in Fox Hollow alone. I'm not sure how many houses in Elk Run. So traffic is an issue. Parking is an issue. Just as Jeff said, the street narrows as you go out. It's when people have functions or, I don't know, gatherings, it's when you have school buses, you got landscapers, you got people, myself, trying to go to work. It's tough. It's tough to get through there. I don't have any school-age kids anymore, but my neighbors do. And I know my next-door neighbor and Jeff and other people with kids, our kids are forced to walk up the street to catch the bus. And I'm kind of concerned as what is this going to do? That Pine Tuck, if I'd ask any of you guys if you haven't, maybe you've been there because you've talked about Pine Tuck is a really small road with maybe 4 houses on it, not a lot of room. And if that's going to be the main entrance to this new proposed neighborhood, I challenge anybody just to come out and take a look at it. And ma'am, I appreciate what you asked about. Your questions were very, very valuable with the trees, the parking. I know how it is where I live now, and we do have a little bit bigger garages, et cetera, but what they're proposing, and you know yourself, if a guy builds a house and, well, I've got a 2-car garage, well, what if I want to have 10 people over for a Super Bowl party or what, or at a function or anything, just what you mentioned, where are they going to park? Where are they going to be? They're going to be in the street. Where are the kids? I mean, we have enough issues. I worry about people with their kids. We have older people walking with their dogs, and I don't even walk my dog on Adams Farm Parkway because it's so busy. So this, in addition to what's being built on the Johnson Farm, just seems like it's going to just add even more and overload the environment and the system as it is. That's all I got, and I appreciate y'all letting me speak. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Now we will open it for the planning board for discussion.
Here, in fairness, you should jump in.
I don't know. I'm always in trouble. I think I was born that way.
You're good.
Oh, geez. I was looking, because of the density and because I didn't see any green space, I don't see any place for parking, and I hear about affordable housing all the time, which is great. We need to have that. But we can't sacrifice some of the amenities for these people too, because then they're really not getting a quality of place to live. And a green space might take up one of these lots. You know, a parking space might take up one of these lots. But something else other than what I'm seeing would be helpful. And for our comprehensive plan, which we worked on diligently and passed in 2021 for the future of Jamestown, I always go back to that, and I read the words carefully. And the survey, we had 25 items in this particular survey on page 18, if anybody wants to find it. And number 4 out of the 25 is provide more parks and open space. So of the respondents from Jamestown and responded to the survey, they thought that was very important. And these are the people who are here, the ones we serve, the ones I serve. So I'm looking at number 4, provide more parks and open space. Minimum, couldn't we have some green space there? Then, let's see, high quality of life, that's another one. Guiding principle, as you can see, I went through this. And then access to natural open spaces, that's guiding principle number 6. And I don't see where we have public parks, I don't know if you could put that in there, but natural open spaces that meet the diverse needs, abilities, and desires of our residents. I don't see that that's included in this plan. And then then another one, number 11, protect and preserve mature trees. I'm hearing that they're trying to preserve some of those trees. I think there should be some wording that they would do more than just try, and not depend on the trees next door. Sorry. Protect and preserve mature trees and tree stands from removal in conjunction with land development activity. And then further down, protect contiguous and connected tracts of open space from development to preserve wildlife habitat. Then there's a bullet, retain the town's designation as a tree city through the Arbor Day Foundation when we did that last Thursday. My compliments to the staff for that. Just thought I'd throw that in. I think that's about it. If you wanted me to go on, I could probably go on for a while longer, but that's the way I feel.
The only thing I'd like to add is with the size of the lots and being the houses 5 feet, I think he said that's 10 feet from the other house. I mean, they are single-family homes, and I applaud that for the area, but this is not really maintaining the community heritage character that we were supposed to be looking for going forward. I think we need these houses just a little further apart to be also in line with what is adjacent to them. And that's something that we owe to the people who already live here.
Discussion?
Well, a couple of things I'll add. Actually, I got a first question. As they remind me, were there going to be sidewalks included?
He said yes.
I blanked on that. So
He said yes. I
Okay.
asked.
Yes, there will be sidewalks included on both sides of the street.
Just
That is
making sure.
required.
Sidewalks on both sides of the street, so access from a walking perspective. But, so about 25 years ago, I actually lived in Elk Run. I lived over in Whitley Way, and the houses were not that uncomparable to what's being proposed. I went in with one kid. When we moved, we had 3 kids. It was time to get a new house. But the long and the short of it was that, you know, in that entire area, from a traffic standpoint, I totally can feel everything that was being said about, you know, access, throughway, all of that. From the number of years I've dealt with different property proposals, the only way to get expansion of existing roads is by adding, you know, further development. It's much like if you have a development that's upcoming, much like one that shall remain unnamed, and the question comes up about schools. We don't get the schools until you get the people there. So likewise with this, if there are, and I know there are discussions about expanding through there to some degree, the only thing that's going to help move that conversation along is assuming that the development is actually happening, because it has to be showing up, and there are more houses, and there's more families and things of that nature. Now, I'm just putting that out there for consideration. I'm not saying that it's necessarily the end-all be-all. But the other thing that stands out to me is just that when it comes to looking at the comp plan, the consistency statement, or the consistency of what we do, rather, a lot of times I've been in situations where, in the past, where, you know, if you got, you know, 10 line items as far as the comp plan, we're typically going to come in with, you know, 4 to 5, and there might be 4 to 5 that are, you know, we work at it, but it's not going to be a complete matchup. So the only point I make to you there is that we're never going to have like 10 for 10 on the comp plan. We're not going to have necessarily 5 for 5 on the comp plan, but we might have, you know, hit on some of the key points that are part of what we want to keep in Jamestown and make it about Jamestown. Because as we look, one of the things that we talk about on a regular basis is growth, and people want to come here. So it makes sense if we have a, you know, developer who's got a good proposal and is showing good structures, that we should at least, as a planning board, make that proposal and let the council decide from there if they want to actually approve it or not. We obviously can go a lot of different directions with this. I agree with when it comes to wetlands, preserving trees and doing whatever we can there, but it has to work in concert with, you know, the best interests of the entire community. So those are my thoughts. That's all I got.
And Jose, please correct me if I'm wrong, because we've talked about a lot of different things, had a lot of discussion. When we get to voting, we are voting on rezoning this land.
Correct. You are recommending to town council.
Recommending to go to council. So
Correct.
we are not voting on the 73 units or the, like, what will be on the land.
Exactly. So this will go through a site review process with the technical review committee. The conditions placed right now that the applicant, they could change all the way up to council. This is part of the process. But you are either recommending approval or denial to town council regarding this case.
Rezoning.
Correct.
But we're not the ones that are actually going to decide on it.
Right,
That is correct.
right. Yeah. I love all the discussion. I just didn't, I wanted to make sure we were all clear what we were voting on.
It's important.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other discussion from the panel?
So I agree with John talking about the growth. I think that the concept behind it, True Homes, I've had friends who have lived in True Homes in Charlotte, and to be honest, they are beautiful homes. However, when I look at those homes, what I'm seeing is the same thing I'm seeing across the country, and that is just a cookie cutter version of the same thing over and over and over again. And in my vision of Jamestown, I do not see Jamestown being something that is just repetitive as the rest of the country or the rest of the state or the rest of the communities in Greensboro or High Point. So I agree with the concept that there should be more walking space and spaces where you can park your cars and spaces where you can gather as a family. I think that when you look at the historical data of it, whatever homes are being built today are typically for the demand of 10 years from now. And we are, as a country, behind in that data. So we need homes for sure. But I think that for a community, we should be looking at homes that reflect the community in which they're being built in. And I don't see how 73 homes that are cookie cutter of themselves across the board necessarily fit into the Jamestown plan itself. I do think it is important that we do have more single-family detached homes, though.
Well, to be fair, one thing I'd throw out to you, so when I bought my house 25 years ago in Whitley Way, there was a lot of back and forth in because literally at that point, you could find my house 5 different times going down the street. I wasn't thrilled with that, but I did like the house. But the one thing I hear that is different in this instance is there's more of a, besides the model home, if they've got a marketability where they're wanting people to decide in advance of what they want, as opposed to it's like drop a house, repeat, drop a house, repeat, then that does allow for greater flexibility and decision-making for the potential buyer. So I get where you're coming from, and we get more and more cookie cutter as we evolve.
So I second that, but what I found with a lot of these new construction communities is if you don't have the people that are coming in to buy those homes, they're building the homes irregardless.
Yeah.
Therefore, they're going to be picking what's going to be going up, and where the design team or design center might choose, like, okay, well, we'll kind of mix and match as we see fit. You might not be getting necessarily the diversity in that in the homescapes
That's
as
fair.
you would if people were actually going in to buy these homes.
Yeah.
Could we ask the developer some questions?
I don't think that's against the rules, is it? Yes.
When you look at your previous developments, what percentage of the homes are pre-sold versus spec homes?
Well, I wish I brought you a picture of a neighborhood that we've built the model. We haven't recorded the plat yet. It's off Marshall Smith Road in Colfax. It's a neighborhood called Westbrook Falls. We literally have over a dozen sold signs up, and we have a model open, and we've sold 12 pre-sales in there. That's how we operate. We like to sell pre-sales. We like to give our clients the opportunity to choose their home, choose their lot, choose the finishes that go in there, choose the colors, choose the exterior materials. That's our bread and butter, and that's what separates us from, the D.R. Hortons of the world and the Pulte's of the world that just go in and build all their houses and then sell them.
Are the lots on that property as small as this?
No, they're not. They're 50-foot wide, and then there's a mix of, it's like 60 single-family homes and about 180 townhomes in that community. So those townhome lots are a lot smaller.
Roughly how wide are these lots?
These are 41-foot wide.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else before we? No, I'm sorry, yep, thank you for asking. All right, so do we have a motion to recommend the approval or denial of the rezoning request to town council?
I think in lieu of, this is still on the council to make the final decision, I'd make the motion that we do approve it, move forward, and let them, chew on it as they see fit. As one of the former chewers, I think that's appropriate.
A second.
Second, thank you.
Would
Katie,
you
would
clarify
like-
something?
Uh-huh.
Or am I interrupting the motion? Clarify, are we voting to rezone, or are we voting on rezoning and approving what is being put on there?
We're strictly
Just
rezoning.
All right,
Right, yes. So John
made the
first,
motion. Robert
Rob
got
made
it.
the second, right? So Katie?
Is this a roll call, Kate?
It is.
Okay.
Robert Kuhn,
Yes.
Peggy Levi,
No.
Robert Garland,
Yes.
Hope Ing,
Yes.
Eddie Oakley,
Yes.
John Capes,
Yes.
Donald Dell,
Yes.
Sherry Richmond.
No, as I see it.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Will you read our
Yes, ma'am.
statement? Thank you.
I make a motion that the proposed zoning amendment be approved based on the following. The proposed zoning amendment is consistent with the adopted comprehensive plan of the town of Jamestown. The planning board further finds that the proposed zoning amendment is consistent with the comprehensive plan because the proposed single-family development aligns with the suburban residential future land use designation and guiding principles 1, 2, and 10 of the adopted comprehensive plan. And the proposed zoning amendment is reasonable. The planning board considers the proposed zoning amendment to be reasonable because, I can't speak tonight. The report of the town staff finding the proposed zoning amendment to be reasonable is adopted by reference. The planning board further finds that the proposed zoning amendment is reasonable because it is consistent with the goals and policies of the town's adopted comprehensive plan, promotes an orderly transition of land use in the area, and supports the development of compatible housing types. And finally, the proposed zoning amendment is in the public interest. The planning board considers the proposed zoning amendment to be in the public interest because the report of the town staff finding the proposed zoning amendment to be in the public interest is adopted by reference. The planning board further finds that the proposed zoning amendment is in the public interest because it will facilitate the development of single-family housing that meets current and future community needs, supports neighborhood stability, and maintains the character of adjacent residential areas.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the consistency statement?
So move.
And a second?
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Okay. All right. All right, well, before we move on, just thank you to True Homes and everybody who came out to talk tonight. We certainly appreciate all your feedback and information.
And if I may add one more thing, I apologize.
That's fine.
Just an encouragement to you guys to understand that this now goes to council, which means this entire process continues, which means there will be an additional hearing. They have to make the decisions on where to go from here. And it's incumbent upon you not to think that, okay, you showed up tonight and that's it. Show up again. If you have questions, you can still reach out to the planning board. You can reach out to the council. We're here to help you. Okay? That's it. Thank you.
All right, Jose, I believe you have some information on state bills.
That sounds fun.
Just wanted to provide some updates about what's going on in state legislature. A lot of bills are coming down from the Senate and House bills that affect our ability to plan locally. And if, a lot of them are pointed towards jurisdictions. And we have our attorney here, Jim Lennick, who might address some questions you have about specific bills. So just wanted to show you a couple of things. Before you, at your desk, you have a draft resolution that will be presented at council, which they will consider, that speaks against some of these bills as they affect our planning ability. And then you also have information on Guilford County representation, who your legislators are, so you can contact them. And I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time going through all these bills because it's a lot, and they also don't include a lot of the other bills that were added as a part of this, so they're just running amok.
But before I just go through them, we are a firm believer that Jamestown knows what's best for Jamestown, including planning board, appointed officials, as well as our residents, that we can plan our own communities and not the state and not Raleigh. So I just want to briefly go some of these bills. Senate Bill 493, it seeks to eliminate extraterritorial jurisdiction, not just for Jamestown, but for all municipalities in North Carolina. What that means for us, that means Sherry, Donald, Peggy, Robert, you will not be able to sit at the table and have a voice in the process and the changes that happen within your community and surrounding your community. And we find that voice valuable. And ETJ is a very, very important tool in the planning process, and we would hate to lose that. Other things added to that bill, because they're cramming things into these bills, public school and commercial zones, permit vested rights. There's some language on split jurisdiction, and there's also some language on quasi-judicial zoning decisions. A lot of it is in this bill, but we're mainly concerned with losing ETJ authority. That means Cedarwood, Fox Hollow, all of that would go through the Guilford County process. So we're definitely against this bill.
That's Bill 493?
That's 493, correct.
Okay.
Then going to Senate Bill 495, introduces provisions that may further constrain local government's capacity to implement zoning. This bill focuses on just relaxing rules for accessory dwelling units. We already have established rules, but again, it just kind of forces municipalities to have these set of clear rules versus municipalities having and setting rules themselves.
Go over that again. What does that mean?
So the state for which bill? Senate
The
Bill
one you just said, 495?
495? Yes, 495 is specifically setting standards for accessory dwelling units. So instead of the jurisdiction or each jurisdiction creating their specific standards for accessory dwelling units, which are defined as a little house that you build for your in-law that's aging, or even an attached accessory dwelling unit attached to your house, the state is pretty much setting clear guidelines that towns must meet these guidelines instead of the town designing the guidelines themselves.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Going on to Senate Bill 497, this creates a new category identified as middle housing, which requires local municipalities to permit duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes, townhomes, and single-family residential districts without public hearings and without consideration of the potential impacts on neighboring property values. So it's like you heard it. It's allowing townhomes and all those uses in single-family without taking account your voice in the process as well as your voice. So, and as a planner, I encourage different types of housing, and I like middle housing, but it needs to consider our voices and the voices of the community. Senate Bill 499.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, absolutely.
So, take example, Cedarwood.
Yes.
Let's assume that ETJ is there and all, where that hadn't changed.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, that's saying that if there's an infill lot, we would have to allow a fourplex or a triplex on that.
Absolutely.
lot.
We would be forced to amend our ordinances to allow all of these uses in single-family housing, which would completely change the fabric of our community. So, all right, moving on to Senate Bill 499. It proposes additional changes that will undermine government's local ability to enforce zoning ordinances. And this particularly talks about residential and development in commercial zones. We must allow residential development in commercial zones. And the bill wasn't very clear, and Jim, you may clarify. That sounded like not only single family, but also multifamily. It wasn't clear, and it didn't say just single family, just said residential development. So that could also change the fabric of our community. And then we have Senate Bill 688, which proposes shifting from legislative to quasi-judicial public hearing process, which severely restricts citizens' ability to participate in planning and zoning decisions. And last but not least, and again, this doesn't include all of the bills that are coming down the pipeline, is House Bill 765, which would place undue burdens upon local governments to forecast financial impacts of any new legislation for a period of 5 years, and would also strip municipalities from their authority to address local needs and preferences to local development regulation. A bit on that bill, some of the things that it talks about is state-level oversight, shifting certain regulatory powers from local government to state agencies, thereby standardizing development regulations across the state. And it talks about
streamlining development processes, including measures to expedite approval process for development projects, potentially reducing time and complexity. And a lot of things included in that bill. Because you are a planning board, I just want to make you aware that that's going on. We have this draft resolution that's going to town council this month to pretty much raise our voice and say that we're against these bills and they do not benefit Jamestown. But pretty much the common thread is it's pro-development and it's also kind of centralizing the power to the state and taking that local authority from local government. So just want to give you a brief summary. I know it's a lot, but Jim and I are happy to answer questions if you have.
And this list that you provided,
Yes. So again, I provided this list and I also have copies over there for residents. This list just has your local representatives in Guilford County. I've starred the representatives, House members, and Senate members that cover our area, which are Jerry Allen Branson, Representative, and Representative Cecil Brockman, as well as Senator Phil Berger and Senator Michael Garrett. Yes.
and this is how our voice is heard.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
the planning board or the town council or Jamestown,
Or your neighbor.
or, they don't, we don't vote on this.
Right.
So this is why we have this list. So-
Yes, correct. Please contact your legislators.
Yeah.
And which of these legislators are sponsors of these bills?
I don't believe any of them are actually sponsors on these
Right.
bills. Do we know offhand who actually proposed it in the first place or tried to raise it up without going down a rabbit hole? Quite a bit of them were sponsored by Mr. Moffett.
Is anything similar to,
Most of them.
has anything similar to this been instituted in any other states, and what was the impact on local municipalities there?
Good question.
I don't know. I mean, what the general overarching theory on these bills, if you can have a global unifying theory for these, is to take planning power away from the municipalities and cede it to the state, so that the state makes these decisions. The state doesn't make these individual decisions, but it tells the municipalities and the local governments how it can make these decisions. All of these are taking power away and taking authority away and taking decision-making away from the municipalities and putting it in the state. I mean, none of these bills seek to limit the power of the General Assembly. They seek to limit the power of municipalities.
Thank you.
Thanks. Go ahead, Sherry.
Yep.
Question. On the first page, next to the last one, Senate Bill 499, undermine local government's ability to enforce zoning ordinances. Wow, that is huge.
Yeah.
That's really huge for all of this, because we have a great contract with people who are enforcing our ordinances right now, and I want to say that they are really doing a great job. I'm not going to go into detail, but just trust me, I think they're wonderful. Whoever, the people, I'm not going to mention the names either. But when we've had a problem in Cedarwood and someone's called, someone has come out right away to address those issues. This is a wonderful town. You have wonderful contracts with people. Why would we want to change to someone who doesn't live here and doesn't know Jamestown? And for the other towns, too, that have their own character.
Time to call an email.
So, and also, while I'm talking, thank you for the great Arbor Day.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for your participation.
Very, very nice.
It was great.
Very nice.
Katie, is there anybody signed up for public comment?
Nobody signed up.
All right, thank you. So do I have,
Well, do we need to vote on this resolution?
No,
That's actually going to council tomorrow.
Thank you.
it was mainly an update for you all, just so be aware of the process.
So that being said, motion to adjourn?
motion to adjourn? Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, meeting is adjourned.